Hi, and welcome to Redeye. Today I'm joined by Theis Kipling, CEO of Biovica. Welcome, Theis.
Thank you very much.
So in this interview, we will get to know you better and also get to know your view on Biovica. And we will also discuss the termination of the agreement with Tempus AI later in the interview. But Theis, can you start by explaining a bit about yourself and your background?
Absolutely. So let me start by saying that I'm Danish, living out of Copenhagen, been in the industry since around 20 years within the field of pharma, life science, and diagnostics. And importantly to note, I initially started out my career as a finance guy and then transitioned into the commercial part of the world and been through, as mentioned, both pharma, life sciences, and diagnostics.
And you left a prestigious job at Devyser as a Chief Commercial Officer. Can you give some color on your reasoning why you left Devyser and went to Biovica, and also give us some insight in what you see in Biovica?
Absolutely, would be very, very happy to. You're right. I left most recently Devyser. I joined Devyser since 4 years earlier, when Devyser was a small Stockholm-based company, hardly international and very much not known anywhere. 4 years later, we scaled that company 3 times. We made very significant partnership agreements and made it into a truly highly recognized and respected genomics company. So that was obviously a great journey. Been following Biovica also during that period and before. And when I got the opportunity to join Biovica, it was for me a no-brainer to accept and go for it. And there's several reasons for why that is. I think if you look at Biovica, they're today further ahead than what I would see Devyser was when I joined. So already there on the starting platform, we're ahead of what we did in the past. So there are many reasons, but I really believe in the platform of the product. I believe in the data, and I'm very much attracted by the field. Working on beating cancer is highly motivating.
So you mentioned the reasons for joining Biovica, but can you, in an elevator pitch, describe what Biovica can offer?
Absolutely, yes. So we focus on metastatic breast cancer, which is oftentimes seen as a terminal disease. And you manage the treatment, but you don't cure it. And you keep patients for years on the treatment. And these patients, they have one worry, and that is the treatment working? And today, the only way to answer that is waiting for the next image and the next scan. Scans and imaging is, slow and expensive. Biovica, with the DiviTum TKa product, we have developed a technique from a single blood draw. We can then detect whether your tumor is what is called proliferating. Essentially, we can detect whether your tumor is under control or not. And that will give actionable insights to the oncologists that we have seen is really, really valuable, especially in the hands of the patients also.
And you have a solid track record within medtech diagnostics, as you mentioned earlier. How do you plan to leverage this specific experience, both within the US dynamics in the US medtech market, but also within your pharma services leg within companion diagnostics?
Good question. There's obviously a lot there to leverage from. And I think the experience of having been in the field since several years is that I have a really, really solid network, especially within the field you just mentioned, and especially within the US. So there's also, I've done, my piece of mistakes also. So I know obviously, and I've taken a lot of learnings from that. Been working in commercializing companion diagnostics when it was brand new. Also there took a lot of learnings. Knows how to set up and successfully commercialize in the US through a CLIA lab, which what Biovica has. And also working with and towards pharma who potentially could become a very instrumental growth lever for Biovica when we would go into companion diagnostics development. So I've come into the role pretty much at ease and with confidence that I've done enough, learned enough from the mistakes, that can inform us to accelerate what we should do well in here with Biovica.
Now you're being humble. You worked at Agilent with CDX for Keytruda. Can you elaborate on that?
That was a real unique experience that not that many I can see when looking back have in their career. A truly exciting, but also breathtaking adventure. We were always working with what today is the biggest drug in the world. But when they were just breaking into the market was stressful, but also full of learnings. And there's a lot there that I and the team. So we have a guy in the head leads the pharma business, Henrik Winter, who was also there in the day. He has a wealth of also experience, and the combination of that, I think, puts Biovica in a very good position actually to be prepared, but also to be represented and seen as a credible partner. And that credibility and trust is really going to be key, I think, for us to continue the development, but also be a credible partner if and when we will be discussing companion diagnostics. And I think there, in that field, lies a great potential for Biovica.
And for any new viewers, how would you explain what a companion diagnostic is? How does it work?
It can work in different ways, but essentially the answer there is you want to find the patients who gets the best and most of the treatment. You don't want to put patients onto treatments that months later you can conclude it doesn't work. And that's our sweet spot. Today, with the standard of care is that you wait until you go into the scan and have the image taken. There's a lead time of several months. We can give real-time information on how your tumor is proliferating. Essentially, if it's proliferating at a low level, it's under control. If it's high level, it's out of control, and you need to engage and mitigate that.
And let's discuss the termination of the Tempus AI agreement. Can you first of all explain to us what the agreement was like and why it was terminated?
So the Tempus agreement was, when I look back, great work by the team. It's not easy to get in front of Tempus and also have them or equivalent size companies in the US who were really, really successful to engage on a contract. So the team did really well in getting to that point. Having worked within partnerships and commercializing through partners, I also know that you need to have commitments and you need to have their attention day in and day out. Been here now 8 weeks. I look back on a contract that is more than a year old and could see in the P&L that we had absolutely zero revenue. To me, that is more resonating with, that's more of a logo collecting exercise than it's real action. I'm here to create results. I'm not here for collecting logos. Hence, it was an easy conclusion for me to reach out to the leadership of Tempus, get a straight answer. Are we on the roadmap or are we not? And I can fully appreciate why it could be delayed and other reasons there. The fact of the matter and the feedback I got back was, at the moment in time, they are so focused on other priorities that doesn't include Biovica and DiviTum. And then I said, I'd rather remove the contract, because having such a contract also prohibits us to target other partners. Right? So if you were to partner for channel, that potential partner for channel would look at us and say, well, you have already a partnership with Tempus, and none of them would want to compete on the same test of against another partner. So it was thereby a pretty straightforward decision to say, okay, I will take back control, and then we can move in the ways that we feel are right for Biovica.
Yeah, that sounds fair. And you are barely 2 months into the new job, and you have mentioned being in a listening mode. So what has been your first impressions of Biovica, and what's your focus areas right now?
I think, as I said also in the beginning, I'm really impressed with what the team have done. And actually the platform that Biovica represents today, I think, are much further advanced than the platform I went with my prior company. That it gives me a lot of hope. We have a very substantial 5,000 plus patient database with us. We have FDA clearance and we have a CLIA laboratory. And the CLIA laboratory, I'd say, is many people understand FDA, and that's complex. It's good. A CLIA laboratory with license to sell across all 50 states is for the few. And especially getting through New York State or California, which is the most states with the biggest populations over there, is very, very tricky. And setting up a CLIA lab in the US with the baseline we have today, for most, and probably also for us, I'm sure, is a plus 100 million SEK investment. That's a great platform for growth, together with the FDA clearance we have and the pharma arm we have also. So I'm super, super excited about the opportunities, but I'm also remaining in my listening mode, and we'll take a cautious read on the situation, and then we take deliberate steps rather than mass approaching. We need to execute also within the limits we have, and then make sure that we have the highest probability for success.
And in the Q4 report, it was evident that you don't want to sell the skin before you caught the bear. And as a result, we didn't get that much information on the potential study with the large integrated delivery network. But what can you say about that opportunity, not to highball it?
Yeah, I mean, that opportunity is hypothetical still, right? And you will learn that I do not communicate on things before I've seen the numbers, right? And it goes beyond having a contract. I want to see actual revenue numbers before I'm convinced. But to that said, an IDN collaboration would do a number of things for us. It would give us that credibility in the market. It's usually a very significant ecosystem we would go into. That means there should be a substantial revenue opportunity. But the reasons for us engaging with an NDN is also to pursue the opportunity to do a prospective study together with the IDN, and that data outcome can then help us to get into guidelines. And guidelines is, by many ways, a key milestone for the company.
Biovica's chairman, Fredrik Alpsten, he was the CEO at Deviser when you also worked there, and I'm guessing he was part of bringing you over to Biovica. And you both recently put your money where your mouth is and invested in Biovica. How is it being back working with him, and what do you think you can accomplish together?
So Fredrik Alpsten is a guy that I really deeply respect. I think he was really the one who made Deviser what it is today. And he has a long career behind him also. And you can see now, based on what he has done, that has been noticed. So now he's in, I don't know how many board positions. He's luckily the chairman with Biovica. And that was a key argument for me to consider the role. I know I work really well with him, but also have the deepest respect for his professionalism, his network. And I think together we have shown that we can truly have major impact. And I have no hesitation or doubt that we are set to succeed also to deliver on that here with Biovica.
And can you in short describe or summarize your core vision for Biovica and what you expect for the company in the coming years?
Yeah, I mean, essentially what I want us to deliver is to change standard of care, improve standard of care for breast cancer patients, broadly speaking, but especially metastatic breast cancer patients. And if you want to change standard of care, that's not something that happens over 1 year, 2 years. So this is going to be a multi-year journey, and it's going to be focusing a lot on substantiating what we do through evidence. And evidence is the only way to take us into guidelines, but it goes also much beyond guidelines. So we need to have the trust of patients. We need to have the trust of the oncologists. We need to have a very substantiated reimbursement ecosystem also. And all of that we can only deliver on by having the team that we have. I think we are gifted by having such a competent, intelligent, hardworking team that really also believes and shares that vision. So if you fast forward some years, I really believe, and I'm here to deliver on the promise of getting us into standard of care, focusing on the US. And that can happen both through the clinical oncology channel working towards oncologists, but it could also be fast-tracked through our pharma arm, which is today the biggest part of the business, the one that is growing the fastest and also with the highest stickiness. So I think, stand here looking at two great opportunities, great assets, two strong platforms served by one and the same product. So I think that's a unique opportunity that will and should take us over some years closer or into changing positively standard of care.
Interesting. And as a final question, you today announced some patent news in Japan. What's your view on this?
Yeah, that's a deliberate intent, a good example of how we are executing very focused. It strengthens the platform of DiviTum. DiviTum TKa is being the product that goes both into the pharma arm and it goes into the CLIA lab. So we can commercialize through both. With the news from this morning, which is a follow-up to the European patent that we got granted last year, it obviously strengthens now the focus of DiviTum, taking us now gradually into immuno-oncology. Immuno-oncology is the biggest part of cancer care today, right? So here we're broadening the use of DiviTum TKa, and it also broadens the potential of additional pharma partners we can engage with, and also gradually as we build evidence, we can start serving patients in need with a faster and highly reliable test response.
Interesting. Thank you very much for joining us today, Theis. Pleasure speaking with you.
My pleasure as well. Thank you very much.